Husband woke up wife in the morning. As a result, he got a slap in the face. The two have been married for many years, never even had a fight. The wife said she was sick. The body was not under control at all, so they went to the hospital for consultation. The doctor initially diagnosed it as a brain tumor, but when doing an MRI on the woman, they found nothing unusual. Just when the doctor was at his wit's end, woman suddenly had epileptic seizure. Through timely help from doctors, she was saved, but the woman also lost the most basic operational abilities because of this. The doctors were very confused. African trypanosomiasis was only diagnosed if it had been to Africa or had sex with the one infected with the disease. But according to the case, the couple had never been to Africa. Then the truth would be, one of the couple had cheated the other, which caused the woman to be indirectly infected with African trypanosomiasis. But when the doctors questioned the two individually, they insisted they never cheated the other before, even if the doctor said there would be death risk if hid the truth. But the couple just didn't admit it. The doctors immediately started treating the woman for African trypanosomiasis, while everyone was anxiously waiting for the medical results. For the first time, the husband hoped that his wife would not wake up, because if the treatment was effective, it proved that his wife must have cheated him. The doctor said maybe she just made a mistake. Was it necessary to be so persistent? But the husband still couldn't accept it. The husband slowly was walking to his wife, then started praying to God to make his wife better, even if she really cheated him. But nothing mattered anymore. He just wished his wife to get well. At this time, the wife finally raised her hand with difficulty. The treatment finally worked. The husband was very happy, but Dr. House felt very uncomfortable because he knows this couple might be broken up just after this treatment. After the wife's health improved, the husband quietly chose to leave after settled her medical bills. The doctor saw this and stopped him.
Were you always honest with her? Do you know how lucky you are? Your wife is alive. She loves you.
What she did. Love a person and do that to them?
She loves you.
Once cheating happened once, it could never go back to the past. The wife also shed tears of regret while lying on the bed. This doctor actually led a pig to the operating room. What was he going to do? In order for pig to save a man's life. Such a weird treatment method. Only House could figure it out. Half an hour ago, the police sent a special patient. This man was a gang boss. Suddenly vomited on the way to the court. Then coma. House initially diagnosed that this was poisoning, and it was very toxic. The liver had lost its function. 2 hours at most to live. Time was tight. It was definitely too late for a liver transplant. So House thought of a clever idea. He asked someone to bring a pig. Let the man and the pig go to the operating table at the same time. Then extracted all the blood from the man, injected to the pig's body. In this way, the pig's liver could clean the poisoned blood for the man's failing liver, then sent the filtered blood back to the man's body. Although it could not cure the root cause, it could help House buy more time to find out the poisoning reason. Back to the laboratory, House analyzed the man's chest x-ray result, found out he was a heavy smoker, and now the number of white blood cells has dropped sharply. It meant he was quitting smoking recently. Then House got the answer. He told the police. The man's quit smoking candy contained bupleurum that could control smoking craving, but it would also lead to a decrease in the number of white blood cells. Because the patient was a heavy smoker, just keep eating the candies. As a result, he was poisoned due to overdose. We let the man stay with the pig for a few more hours, then stopped his candies. He would recover soon, but this pig were miserable. It would be deeply poisoned. Shortly after the man woke up, to show his gratitude, the man gave House a very cool sports car. But what I want to say is, shouldn't the man thank that pig first? This boy was awesome. He said he was God's godson. Then he touched the lame old woman in the name of God, saying, "Godfather, please give me strength." Then he took away the old woman's crutch. A miracle happened. The old woman could actually walk now. Everyone immediately went excited. The boy arrogantly expressed that there was no point to go for a doctor. He could cure all diseases here. But just after the words, he suddenly became stiff. A sharp pain in the abdomen. It hurt so much that he fell to his knees directly. He quickly said to his father,
Daddy, I think I need a doctor.
What an embarrassing. When in the hospital, Dr. Allison was checking the boy's body. The boy said to her, "God told me that I would meet a beautiful female doctor. That was you. And you had a grudge against the doctor next to you." The two were stunned on the spot, because they did have a conflict. The father on the side explained, when the boy was 10 years old, God suddenly gave him a dream, said he was born with wisdom. He was the God's godson. Since then, the boy could talk to God at any time. The two doctors were confused after heard it. Dr. Allison checked the boy's examination result, found everything to be normal except for low sodium symptom. When House heard about the boy, he said speaking to God was religious belief. Hearing God speak was mental illness, so he decided to go to meet this boy himself. When he just entered the ward, the boy saw House using a crutch. He said to House, "Do you need my help to treat your legs?" House replied, "No thank you." Then he asked the boy why you were in the hospital but not asking God to treat you instead. The boy confidently answered that it was God leading him here. House was speechless, thinking the boy was indeed seriously ill. At this time, the boy's father came in with a bottle of water. House notices the bottle of water was quite old already. Father explained the boy drank lots of water every day, so prepared a bottle specially. After House heard it, a diagnosis suddenly appeared in his mind. Low sodium and abdominal pain were probably caused by drinking a lot of water, so just raise the level of sodium. It was that simple. How could it be? House just left. The boy suddenly had a hallucination. He was in a daze, singing a hymn all the way out of the ward. A doctor quickly stepped forward to stop him. Suddenly he saw a woman with terminal cancer.
God doesn't want you to be afraid. He sent me here to heal you.
He touched the woman's face with his hand. The woman was stunned, but then a miracle happened again. The boy was hallucinating, said he was possessed by God, could cure all diseases. Then he walked towards a terminally ill woman, touched the woman's face with his hand. 2 days later, a miracle really happened. The doctor discovered that the woman's tumor had shrunk. Everyone was shocked, but House didn't believe it had anything to do with the boy. Firstly, he needed to find out why the boy was hallucinating. Assistants performed an MRI on the boy. He was found to have tuberous sclerosis. This could explain why the boy always has hallucinations that he was possessed by God. They needed to operate on the boy to remove nodule, otherwise it might be life-threatening. But the boy did not agree to the operation. He didn't think it was an illusion but God-possessed. And that nodule was the communication tool given by God. If the doctor removed it, he couldn't talk to God anymore. House was speechless. Fortunately, Dr. Wilson was better at negotiating. Convinced the boy using God's theory, he finally agreed to the surgery. But something happened again the next day. The terminally ill woman who was touched by the boy went to him. She was so grateful that she burst into tears. Then she became his true believer. This made the boy even more certain that he was possessed by God. So he decisively refused the surgery. House was angry. He must find out the real reason why the woman's condition was improved. He asked his assistants to study the woman's information carefully. Even secretly went to the woman's house to see if there were any clues. But there was still no clue after studied it for a long time. At this time, the boy suddenly developed a new symptom. This boy had a fever of 104 degrees Fahrenheit, but insisted he needed to be discharged from the hospital. He said God called him, telling him not to use human medicines. God would heal him. The doctors thought it must be caused by high fever, so asked the father to persuade him to receive treatment. Unexpectedly, the doctor was even more shocked by what his father said.
I'm sorry. You don't even know what's wrong with him. God knows the answer. I would rather leave it in his hands than yours.
But how could House give up who had such a stubborn temper? He must find out all the truth, and used science to convince this boy. Technically speaking, tuberous sclerosis would not cause sudden high fever. He must have other illness. What could it be? Then Wilson said, could it be caused by some kind of virus? These words gave House a flash of inspiration. He went to the ward immediately, and wanted to take off the boy's clothes. The boy was so frightened that he quickly resisted. House said, just accept it, because this was the mission assigned to me by God. It turned out that House suspected that the boy had herpes virus encephalitis. This could explain why the woman's tumor got smaller when the boy touched her, because the herpes virus could attack cancer cells. Boy's hand, after touching his own herpes, touched the lips of a terminally ill woman again, so herpes was transmitted to the woman. That was why her tumor could become smaller. But this was only temporary, and the woman's condition would continue to worsen. There was only one way for this herpes virus to spread.
Either that or cold sores. Your kid got it from the sex.
As God's chosen one, he must ensure his purity. But obviously, the boy did not keep his integrity. That was why he drank a lot of water every day. He thought it could wash his body clean, but the father firmly believed that his son was innocent. He asked his son to take off the clothes and show them, to prove that they were the most loyal believers. The boy reluctantly took off his pants obediently. Sure enough, they found a spot of herpes. House said, take it easy. Just take a few tablets of acyclovir and you will be fine. It's just that you won't be able to be God's godson in the future. The boy buried his head into the pillow in shame. The Bible next to him seemed so ironic at the moment.